Okay, then it's 11:40 now. We're gonna start now. So welcome with me, Loanas from Spryker, who's the head of demand. And she's gonna talk about a very fancy topic. Actually, I really like the title. So right at the end of the funnel, why it all starts with the full customer life cycle in mind. Loanas will take over. And one question here, please write your questions in the chat. We're gonna answer them at the end of the session, and then we can go through that. Okay, over to you.
Thank you, Julie. So hi from me as well. As Julie mentioned, today is about why there's always light at the end of the funnel and why it all starts with the whole customer lifecycle in mind. Just to kick off, there's going to be a little survey during my talk, so feel free to say about your experience of the customer lifecycle, and I'd be keen to discuss that later as well. All right. Sorry. All right. So I'm Loanas. I've been in marketing for 11 years. So working in the startup world, working for corporates, and have been, seeing a lot of different marketing actions evolve. So as you can imagine, 11 years ago, that was very different to what it is today. And have been at Spryker for about 3 years. So I'm kind of a Spryker veteran by now, I guess. And also seen that evolve a lot, which was super exciting. And there's still a lot of exciting things happening, as you will see now. And at Spryker, I built up content marketing. And now, since recently, we also have defined the area demand generation there. So what is this talk going to be about? First of all, I want to tell you a little bit about an approach that we had before 2020, kind of a thought leadership approach. Then I want to talk a little bit about the relevance of the funnel from our point of view, what new formats perform best, and then why it's been working out for us so well. So before 2020, we focused on a thought leadership approach, meaning that we wanted to be like an influencer. So you have domain expertise and people come to you because they want to find out all about e-commerce, all about, the innovative topics that are on the market. So we would write about car commerce, we would write about smart home, and this was super cool. So many of you might also know Alex Graf, who is exactly that. Like, he's an e-commerce influencer, and he's also our CEO. So we kind of worked as a synergy there as well. So it worked super well on the awareness level. So we got a lot of contacts into our database through this approach. But then where were the tons of deals, and why were things taking so long? So, for example, our sales process, our sales deals took 12 to 18 months to close, which is okay for many B2B businesses, but we thought there has to be a faster way. So we were like, wait, there's something missing. We didn't look at the whole funnel. We basically produced a lot of content to create awareness, but that was not necessarily close to the actual product or to the software need. So what we then did is look at the whole funnel, including lead gen, nurturing, sales outreach, and defined, what are these channels? What can we use? And also, what is the right content at what stage to drive this forward? And of course, by whole customer lifecycle, it's that stage from, when you first become aware of Spryker as a brand to becoming a lead, to being nurtured, etc. And then once you become a customer, to also repeat that process. Because of course, also for customers, it's all about, maintaining awareness of what value they're getting through our product. So this continues even after customers or deals get closed, but I'm going to focus more on the sales part of the funnel today. So awareness channels. So these are the channels that we are using. Of course, paid and owned, I guess, is a common term for you. So here, just all the paid media that you guys probably all know about as well. And in the owned media, what is a bit more special, I guess, is that we have our own podcast, which we have founded on the one hand to drive awareness, but we're also sneakily using it as a sales tool. So meaning that if you have a lead, we may also send it to the podcast guest list, just to kind of keep them warm or to get a foot in the door. And then shared media. So this is kind of a middle ground between owned and earned, meaning that we have more access to these resources. So that kind of shared. And for this, we use our huge partner network of many fantastic solution partners, technology partners. Also Kassenzone, the blog of our CEO, Alex Graf. That's been working really, really well for us as well. And yeah, of course, external events, influencers. And one good thing that came out of this year is that we saw it doesn't have to be a physical external event to drive awareness. So we teamed up with, for example, Internet World or with the K5, and we basically drove the event format in a webinar shape. So that worked really, really well for us. A lot of brand awareness through these channels, and that's also something that I would recommend to you. And then on the earn side, I guess what's special to us in the B2B space and as a software brand is that we work very closely with analyst firms. So we work with Gartner, Forrester, IDC, and also started recently looking at review platforms. So G2, Trust Radios, Gartner Peer Review. So these are also quite useful channels to keep in mind if you're in a similar space. And then for lead gen, kind of similar channels, but of course also our website. And we saw a very interesting correlation, which is that the more investment we put on paid media, the higher the traffic on our website. So it's not only the direct leads that you can convert through paid ads, but there's also an indirect effect that pushes brand traffic, which is really cool. So website is a very important channel for that, and also because it's one of the better performing channels. Then nurturing. So we have, again, paid media that you can leverage, for example, through retargeting, and our own media, also pretty classic, I would say. Like, of course, on the website, you can continue nurturing. We have our automated email journey, and then also webinars are a good way to do that. Right, and then once you define your channels, so in our case, that's quite a lot already, I would say, you have to make them come to life. And for us, what we did a little bit different this year is that we focused on core themes that we pursued the whole year. So kind of the topics that represent Spryker, that are winning strategies to businesses, because also this year, and then especially with Corona, like these also match what companies needed as a winning strategy. This helped us to have that consistent message to the outside. So it was all about acting fast, going direct, so reducing independencies, owning your growth, and then preparing for a post-Corona world. And so now I want to share an example for each of the channels with the example of the D2C push that we did. So just telling you a little bit about how we did it. And here you see the channels we use. So we did a mix of organic and paid social media for awareness. And on LinkedIn, we did a little bit of an interactive post game. So you had to click through to see what D2C type you are. So that performed really well. We had over 15% engagement on that one, which was definitely above average. We produce video formats. And then, of course, very important, I mean, you've all seen it also for the PAKCon, just tagging big brands, tagging collaboration partners. So that always adds that extra bit of reach for you. Collecting leads. So here's a really, really cool, I can only recommend you. So conversation ads on LinkedIn are for us a great lead converter. So the way it happens is like you send a sponsored email to people and it's basically a chatbot reaching out, but we wrapped it as such a clear message as well. So the user knows, okay, it's a chatbot talking to me. And then at first you get different options. You can just click and download. So we either convert them through that, or if somebody's really interested, they would respond, and then they will also get a prompter for a personal meeting invite. And that has been working so well for us. So we had CTRs of over 40% on our different campaigns, and with not bad pricing. So I think like this is something that if you haven't tried it yet, like I would absolutely recommend that to you. And moving on the nurturing space. So of course you can send automated emails. One thing that has been working really well for the D2C thing here is to think, okay, people had exposure to certain aspects of D2C and now bringing it together in a webinar with hands-on tips. And you could also invite more people, etc. That also help spreading it, right? But just to nurture people with an additional topic recommendation can help you a lot. And then last but not least, once our contacts are on the stage where we hand them over to sales, also to provide them with talking points and assets that they can send, we have some materials that, again, match the D2C topic. So yeah, then you are at the stage where hopefully you close the deal. But of course, it's all a roller coaster. So the deal cycle itself will have probably been like that. And then, as I mentioned, once you close the deal, it all starts again. So it's not stopping here, but it's a journey that always continues. So what did we learn today? Basically, following this strong funnel overview and having these fixed themes, we definitely have a better overview of what is working in the funnel and what needs to be optimized. We basically hit a record new ARR, which was also, of course, a nice side aspect. And we decreased our sales funnel down to 6 to 12 months, which, again, from 18 months is also quite a good achievement. So yeah, that was basically it in a nutshell from my side. Super curious to hear what you thought, how things are going on your end, and then to discuss more. And also do reach out to me on LinkedIn, send me an email if you like. I'm very happy to hear from you.
Thank you, Loana. So guys, feel free to ask your questions, or you can also grab the mic. Otherwise, I'm just going to read out the questions that I bring in the chat. So Leo was asking, how do you track through the whole funnel in different channels? Any good tips?
So basically, we use different tools. We have HubSpot on the side where, as a marketing automation tool, where we collect the contacts and nurture them to MQLs. And then once the sales process starts, it gets handed over to Salesforce. So basically, and then for the interpretation, to feed everything together, we also use Tableau. So this gives us very nice charts of, whatever you want to know. Like if it's the pipeline value, if it's, what is the best performing source, what is the best performing asset. So I would recommend you definitely, in HubSpot, you can do a lot. But a tool like probably Salesforce is even a bit better, or Tableau would definitely help you with that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Then the next question is from Felix. At what point do you decide to call potential leads, provided you have a phone number?
Sorry, the question was at what point?
Yeah, exactly. At what point do you decide to call potential leads, provided or like given that you, or assuming that you would have the phone number?
Yes. Yeah, so that's a good point, because also at the point when it was about deciding what forms go on our lead form, we said it has to be a phone number, because it just takes that threshold of getting that phone number, right? And for us, the stage comes when we've scored them to an MQL status. So, for example, downloading content that's very close to the product, very close to the software need, if they requested a meeting, and that sort of thing, like gets you higher scores. And then once you hit MQL stage, the lead gets handed over to our BDR team. Then they would actually reach out and call leads just to also qualify them. So that's the easiest.
Okay, cool. Thank you. The next question is from Gonzalo. He's saying, amazing presentation first. We are now also advertising to entire companies in the late stages of our pipeline to drive awareness in the company and accelerate conversion rates. So a little bit going into the direction of ABM. Have you tried doing this to deals in your pipeline, and have you seen it having any effect?
Yeah, very good question. And I think ABM is definitely a very hot topic. However, it is nothing for quick wins. So just selecting a few companies that you think, they would qualify for you, they are in need of your product, and identifying the right stakeholders, etc. And then starting to have personalized, tailored content for them. That's something we haven't started in that much detail. We have done ABM at a kind of smaller scale, so focusing on certain company groups, certain verticals, and then reaching out to them. And I think if you wanted to go with a very personalized approach, just from what the stories are that I've heard, is like, I would definitely recommend you to also then get a tool that can help you on the stakeholder stage. How are they engaging? What stage are they at? What's the status of, the account executive and that contact or lead at that stage communicating? If, however, you wanted to do it in a bigger way and just have like top accounts in a certain vertical that's relevant, then probably you can also do that in HubSpot and Salesforce.
Okay. Well, the next question is from Jan, and then we have to move to Wanda. Did you follow a multi-channel approach, or was this project predominantly based on LinkedIn?
So the question was if we're following a multi-channel approach, following LinkedIn mostly?
Yeah, because I think, well, actually, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So for us, LinkedIn definitely makes the most sense. So we do use, for example, Instagram a lot for branding and even HR purposes. But LinkedIn for us makes the most sense. I guess it depends where your target audience is. If it's more lifestyle, if it's more B2B. For B2B, I guess LinkedIn does work the best and also better than Xing for us, even though we have a lot of German customer base at this point. But yeah, I think it makes sense to focus, and for us, LinkedIn is quite crucial. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the time is up. We only have 1 minute left. I ask everyone to please join us and wonder if you feel that your questions haven't been answered yet, which is actually quite a lot. And then we can meet there. Cool.
Anything on the survey or?
Yeah, sorry. The results from the survey unfortunately disappeared, but so basically the first answer, we have to get on top of that. It did have by far the highest rate, and then the second, and only a few actually tipped for the last one.
All right, cool. Yeah, so
I think you were able to help everyone.
Then very happy to do so.
Okay, cool. Then cool. Then let's move everyone to Wanda. And in case that Loana or I need a little bit more time, please be patient. Okay, see you then.